Welcome everyone. This week's SEO Intel is going to be about meta advertising. And I wanted to make this applicable to the whole group. So this is going to be sort of broad strokes, conceptual, how to build a campaign strategy, more so than specifically like this is how to input XYZ into Meta. So as usual, our agenda, how to use this tool for client success, who is this tool for, why is this tool special, and then a few review questions at the end. So first of all, how to use it. So Meta advertising is of course available through the Meta Business Suite, which is a connection of Facebook and Instagram under, the Meta company umbrella, basically. And it has two main applications that are not entirely exclusive to one another. One of them is to increase the sort of impact of existing social media content. So increase in-feed metrics, drive external traffic from your social media platforms, and reach specific audiences with specific online behaviors. So how to actually use this tool, there's obviously several different steps here. One of the main ones is that there are several different campaign types. So when you select your campaign, you're selecting from these four: awareness, which is basically eyeballs, views, users reached; engagement, which is very much the, or primarily the on-feed interaction. So likes, comments, follows, link clicks, that sort of thing; lead generation, which is landing page views, phone calls, anything that could potentially tee up your client to have another customer. And then lastly, conversion. So that's actually, purchasing, booking an appointment, that kind of thing. And when you're choosing a campaign type, there's a few things that go into that, but the two main factors are: what is the goal of your client as it relates to their product and service, and what is their audience like already. So that will be a factor in how successful you can be at the different campaign levels. So on the left here, we're seeing a picture of a HopeLink ad campaign, the same creative, but if you look at the results, these are actually run in two different types of campaigns. We have an awareness campaign, which reached 4,500 users. And then we have an engagement campaign, which generated 100 engagements. So same creative, different results because they're in different campaigns. Content format. So by this, I mean video, carousel, animated graphic, images, so on. Content format is one of the most important decisions you'll make when you're setting up a Meta campaign as well. And that is because creative is everything. If you have bad creative, your ads will not work. It does not matter what else you do in the campaign setup. So you need a strong hook, a strong call to action. That's the same as organic. But if you don't have those things, your ads will not be successful. And on the left here, I'm showing two different types of ad campaigns. So creative formats. So we have a video on top and animated carousel on the bottom. So the goals here are different. The goals for the bottom is that we want external direction clicks specifically. And the goal for the top is views, in-feed engagement, awareness, that sort of thing. So the reason to choose video for the above is because video is cheap and gets the highest amount of views. And notable, just for clarity in this graphic is, or in this screenshot, is that post engagements in this context also include complete length video views. So those are sort of rolled together here. And carousels, in what we've seen recently, generate the highest number of clicks. So if you sort of look at the budgets and do the math, you'll see that the cost per click is like lower for the carousel, and the cost per reach is lower for the video because the goals are different. So the content format needs to be different as well. Another note in here is do not rely on your captions for conversions. Your people are not, or the users are not going to make it most likely to the caption. Everything needs to be in the creative. Audience targeting. So this is not unique to Meta, but in Meta advertising, you can target across a bunch of different metrics. So age, interest, gender, geography, behaviors. Are they engaged shoppers? Are they engaged users? Are they, or have they watched your video recently? That sort of thing. This is a critical part of your ad campaign because retargeting is up to 60% cheaper for conversion. So if you send a conversion ad to somebody who has not interacted with you in any way, that is going to be much more expensive to be successful than if you target someone first with the goal of getting a like or a view, and then target them again later with the goal of getting a sale or a form filled out or something like that. So in that sense, audience development is a very critical first step. Audience development looks very different across different clients. So in some cases, if they have an established and engaged following, you can do what you're seeing on this screen here is you can basically take that engaged audience, create a lookalike audience based on them, and then you have an audience to target. You can also upload external lists. So like in here, for example, we see a MailChimp list. Pixels will tell you who's engaged on the website. They'll also tell you the result of your ads. So that's sort of like that goes both ways. I mean, all of these factors can be like part of audience development. Or you launch an awareness campaign so that you can generate an audience to target later on with future campaigns. Something of note here is that Meta, just like all the other big platforms, has introduced, they call it Advantage. Basically, it's their algorithm to go out and find the right people to engage with your ad for whatever the goal is. It's important to remember that while these algorithms are like scary good, like they're phenomenal, they are not foolproof. So use them, but be critical about your results. We had a recent campaign that drove a ton of web traffic, but no sales. So, and the specific goal conversion for the client was sales. So in that sense, that sort of ad targeting was a failure, even though from the algorithm's perspective, it was a success. Another thing to be mindful of when you're setting up your ad campaign is, oh, I'm sorry. There we go. I didn't know you could do that. Okay, is where your customer is sort of at in their purchase journey. So are they aware of the problem and we're just sort of giving them more information around what is happening, what the pain point is? Are they aware of the solution? And we need to make a pitch as to why our brand is the best solution to choose from. Or are they aware of us and they simply need next steps to complete the transaction? These different steps can be accounted for in your creative. So what you're seeing on the left is an ad campaign for one of our clients that has problem aware at the top, solution aware in the middle, and product aware at the bottom. So these would be fed to your ad users at different points in their journey, depending on how much knowledge they have. And you can use that in your campaigns, both in how you write your creative and what type of campaign you put the creative in. Budget for barriers. So for a long time, Meta ads were like the cheapest thing out there, and you could get incredible numbers for no cash. But of course, like everything else, the markets become saturated. So now you need more cash to get the same effect. And primarily, there are two barriers that are important to counteract with money. So if your audience is small or hard to target, basically it's hard to find your people, or nobody knows about you, but you want to jump straight to conversions, then you need more money to run your campaigns. And just a reminder here at the end, money can solve some things in this context, but it cannot solve bad creative. So if your hook is bad, your CTA is unclear, it does not matter how much cash you throw at it. Team tip. So this is specific for, us as digital marketers working in, mostly B2B space. So we are social media people. We love when things get views and likes, but remember to cross-reference your results against your clients' key performance indicators. So we like the in-feed numbers, but they are business people. They want sales. They want conversions. So if those views and likes are not feeding into sales or conversions, that ad campaign is not yet successful. And to prove this point, I have this very funny video here.
We sold out though. Oh,
how many did you sell, Greg?
6.
Only 6 jars.
And I bought 4.
Yeah, but we generated 12 billion impressions, and we helped build brand engagement by 112%. We also won the Grand Prix.
I actually also work in advertising.
Oh, another one.
So what case studies have you done?
I wrote the beer ad where the horse farts.
I saw that. That went viral.
Anyway, to sort of prove the point I'm making. Specifically, that was about a jar of jams that was designed for a left-handed opening. So it's like a very odd niche campaign and a limited run. And anyway, just a joke, but a funny one. Okay, moving on. So who is this for? Meta advertising is ideal for many industries, but there's a few things, sort of to look out for. One, you want your industry ideally to be unrestricted. So that means, in Meta's case, that means some medical, social, political stuff, politics, banking, financial, that sort of thing. Those are all highly regulated. And that is not to say that you can't run a successful Meta ad campaign, but there are likely, limitations or additional considerations you'll have to make. It's also ideal for clients who just want to build brand awareness. That is maybe the most effective thing you can do with Meta advertising and also just social in general is building awareness, building a social following. And then it also, Meta advertising is also functional for clients with conversion goals, but notably after the audience has been developed. So why use this tool? Going viral organically is awesome, but getting views and getting conversions, like we saw, is not necessarily the same customers. So the content you'll make to have that broad appeal does not necessarily translate into the customers you need for your business. Reaching, also, as I mentioned, Meta's become saturated. So reaching 3% of your following is considered good organically. Advertising can help ensure you still get relevant reach on top of what's considered quote unquote good. Additionally, we live in sort of an era of digital distrust, corporate distrust. People need more assurance and more connection than they have historically before they want to spend their money or work with you for your service. So current research demonstrates that users need about 11 touch points before a conversion. That's a lot of touch points. So social, both organic and advertising is a good way to sort of like fill those spaces. Okay, moving on to some review questions. First one, very actual question. Second one is more of a brainstorming. We'll go through how to build a campaign together, sort of, or like the strategy for it. So what type of Meta ad campaign should I run if I want people to complete a contact form? Awareness, engagement, lead gen, or conversion? Alex, can you answer this one?
I have more experience with the first two. So I'm between the second two. I think it's lead generation. Is that right?
Yep, that is correct. So the conversion equivalent of this is they fill out their contact form and then they actually sign, a subscription service or whatever. So the conversion is the next step after lead gen. So that is correct. Okay, and then for this brainstorming session, a client approaches you to market a spa service. They have no social media presence, but they want to generate call inquiries to their office. So let's determine what kind of campaign we should suggest. First item to think about the audience. They have no social media presence. So let's hear a few of the potential first steps to create adequate ad targeting for this client. I'll take a couple answers. Toby, could you throw out an idea?
Yeah. So in terms of ad targeting for this client, since they want direct calls to their the spa, with no social media presence, they're gonna need something more that is gonna probably have to do with what kind of graphic or visual you want to give for people to want to click on a button to see what they're doing. So it's probably going to be something quickly about their services, so maybe service hours, where they're located, probably locality wise in terms of actual audience targeting. So it's going to have to be local that way. So my first thought would be visual.
Yep. Okay. So we're going to want to make sure that the language is really clear. What about, you mentioned geography. So what about specifically in regards to audience development? Maria, any thoughts?
Yeah, two. One is we need to make sure the client has very adequate, realistic expectations, and we need to ask for a lot more money. Because that's always the case. To go in conservative is not going to work because they've got nothing. So reducing the budget as things go would be the right choice rather than let's start small and build. So asking for a higher ad budget is tantamount. As far as steps to take, I think having really clear defined targeting in place, have a very specific goal. What is the locale? What are the age demographics? What are the what's the financial reach that these clients have? So being very specific and knowing what those specific demographics are and verifying them, I think, is a really good first step.
Absolutely. So what you were both sort of talking about there is this second point, running awareness campaigns to determine, sort of who is even interested in this for retargeting, and that requires cash. And then Toby, you were talking about making sure, video content in particular is good for awareness campaigns, but making sure that there is a compelling hook and CTA. And additionally, consider that perhaps they have audiences from other platforms. We can take a look at website data, a mailing list. Maybe they don't, but maybe they do. And that can be a part of creating an audience for social as well. Next up, so about their goals, they want to generate call inquiries to their office. So what kind of campaign does this apply? And can we start with this type of campaign exclusively? Crystal, do you want to answer this one?
Sorry. I had the answer to the other one.
I know I wanted Alex's question. I knew that one.
I wanted your question because I had it to a T, and I'm like, oh my God, now you call me for this one. Lead generation.
Yep.
Yeah, lead generation. And I don't think you can, unless they already have this is for social media, correct? Unless they already have a social media presence, you can't just jump right into lead generation. You need to build the audience first.
Exactly. See, they're related. I wasn't like totally throwing you to the wolves. So yeah, lead campaign, and on Meta, you can be as specific as we want phone calls. That the specificity of action depends on platform. So Google will be different, YouTube will be different, but on Meta, you can do this. And then no, you cannot jump straight into that without audience development. Depending on the situation, you might be able to do them at the same time, but it will need to be at least part of the ad strategy is to build that audience. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, do you have a link to that video with the horse farting? I really
Yeah, I can find
really
it.
need
I'll
to
find
see that.
I just found it's just an Instagram reel. I'll find it. I'm sure it's part of some bigger thing, but it felt very relevant.
I do have a question about the conversion campaigns. I'm trying to like imagine in our terms what sort of client would do that. I can't imagine, you gave
Yeah.
the spa example. What would it look like to do a conversion campaign?
Yeah, so for the spa, a conversion campaign is like an appointment booking. So actually reserving a service. For full transparency, conversion campaigns are actually fairly rare for us because we have a B2B focus. So our sort of end is usually in lead gen. But for example, SIPA recently B2C selling products, the conversion is a sale. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, my question was related to why anyone would bother with a landing page when they can just go right to a conversion.
That's a good question. I think that depends largely on what you are, what the product is, what the service is. Like, I think, for example, our lawyer definitely needs a contact page or some sort of landing page. So, one, they can vet the quality of inquiries, but two, they can also appropriately match. And they don't have fixed pricing in the same way that a B2C customer does. But in the case of a B2C customer, you can skip lead gen altogether and go straight from engagement to conversion.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? All right. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you very much,
Outstanding.
Laura.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.